She laughs and cries with utter abandon. I never understood overly emotional women when I was younger. They made me uncomfortable. I'd never come across an overly emotional man. 3 things I inherited from my mother. My love of Barbara Streisand, Frank Sinatra and Shirley Bassey. That's one. A loud laugh. It doesn't occur often, but as my 5th grade teacher so succinctly wrote on my report card, I laugh like a hyena. That's 2. And the 3rd, I guess, my need for hugs. My mother has these fantastic breasts. She still lets me know when I get into them on occasion, even though I'm 30. She still calls me the baby. I find this strangely comforting these days. I wish that I could cry with the abandon of my mother, like a hurt child, like the world was ending, like my heart was being wrenched from me and the void in its place was insufferable. I felt that void, but felt unable to fill it with tears. I never learned to express myself that way. It seemed to somehow contradict the rebellious macho stance I adopted as far back as my memory travels. I was rebelling against my mother, against her open pain. It disgusted me to see a woman cry. It was weak. I refused to be weak. In retrospect, I recognise the damage I did to myself, the damage I continue to do to myself. I recognise the festering, morose depression that replaces an honest outburst of hurt, of rejection, of confusion. My last breakdown was in '97, and I spent a month in a room, and I wailed. I sobbed up things repressed for years, and I felt the knots inside my stomach unwind. I felt a freeing of my solar plexus. I felt the dissipation of fear. I felt gutted and cleared. Once I stopped running and faced the pain, I found I was victorious. I did 10 years of my life for a month of wailing. I don't know how to take myself there. I was 16 and I was in this place. It was black, like this universe without stars. And it hummed, an eerie hum. If there were guides, they stood out of sight, silently watching. I couldn't feel their presence. All I could feel was my flesh creeping and this longing to lay perfectly still whilst running as fast and hard as I could away from it. I had no way of describing it. I didn't know there were words. I was somewhere so deep inside myself, and there was no one to tell. I couldn't see beyond it. I discovered a part of myself that no one had ever touched. And it scared me. It scared me to look at my own reflection because it was so full of pain. I had no way of knowing where the pain came from. I felt so utterly alone. On a good day, I believe that the core of our being is a divine connection with the universe that can fill us with a joy and a hope and a love of the profound beauty that surrounds us and is within us. I believe that there is a core to my being, and it's total submission to a force so sublime and transcendental that I'm humbled, truly. Where I offer my service in whatever capacity and give thanks that it's real and active in my life and that I'm not alone. These are supreme moments. I pass through them on occasions when the sun's setting and the sky is filled with colours and I'm filled. And I embrace my life and feel part of a whole, almost whole within myself. Then night descends, and I'm reminded once again of that place, that reflection, and I hide my face, not wanting to admit that our total and unequivocal isolation is the true narrative, the only narrative, that reality is glossed over with succession upon succession of distractions, meaningless endeavours, endured only to hide the inevitable conclusion that we can never be touched. We can never share the burden of our soul's inability to express its true voice. That we can never, in short, be free. And so I run and continue to run. I refuse to look back to the places I was trapped, where the emptiness was filled with a grief that to this day I can't account for. I find a place where I'm safe in my solitude, where I moderate my emotions, and I'm content to sit, content to hide. Active in the world and expressing for the most part a true love of those around me in my life. I'm living not a lie, but deceiving in some way my own truth. I will not let you love me, but love me still. You must. I'll perish in you. I'm feeding off you and desperately trying to live. To see the divine in the face of those around us may be the only true way, and yet to profess to know the divine through the eyes of another, through their interpretation, must surely be folly. I'm still lost. down. Catherine, sit up straight. Liz, put those crayons away. Okay, now we're going to open our books at chapter 1. And we're going to analyse the confessions of a confused celibate. Miss! What's a celibate? Has anyone here ever eaten fennel?
Yeah.
Yes, I knew. Fennel, it's this vegetable thing. Anyway, it's really amazing stuff. It just sort of flushes you out. I've been having a lot of conversations lately about colonic irrigation. It's incredible the amount of people who've had them. I'm quite concerned about the state of my colon. I actually think it's quite comforting, the thought of 5 gallons of warm water flushed up my arm. She walked off into the wilderness. The sky was vast. She could see the curve of the globe where the land met the horizon. Vegetation was sparse. There was some grass scattered. And trails of ants. And tiny little flowers. Purple and yellow. She walked. For 3 days, her clothes were torn, her shoulders burnt, her feet blistered and swollen. There were skulls of animals, long since extinct. She halted where the earth turned to sand. Picked up a stone, knelt, and began to scrape symbols into the earth. Slowly at first, restricted and timid, then gradually wild, swinging arms out of control, discarding the stone, she began to claw into the earth. Beads of sweat pouring down her face, water in her eyes, her breath panting and surreal. She clawed a huge vagina in the earth, lips parted and swollen. Dug a gaping hole. A pile of sand. The jewel on top. She lay herself down, her heart covering the hole, her lips brushing the precious jewel. She could taste the sand in her mouth. Kissing now. Licking now the entrance to Mother Earth. Making love to Mother Earth. Making love to herself. From nowhere, like a bolt of lightning stunning her, came the softly spoken words. Sweet Jesus. Her heart flew open, and love poured from her into the earth. Sweet Jesus. Why do you come to me now? I know not your face. To be your lover. But I need to feel your flesh. If you let me into you, you will be complete. How do you fuck a ghost? Well, Moving her body. Breathing in. You can almost feel sweet Jesus. Oh God! Why do you do this to me? Is it wrong to take sweet Jesus as a lover? Enter me! Make me whole! Would you abandon me here? Night approached. The crickets sang in the emptiness. She huddled in a ball, looked at the sky, and watched the stars appear, one by one. You torment me. You tease me. Do you love me? Do you test me? How should I know your love? She felt a breath against her neck, an arm encircled her body. She felt the warmth of another beside her. The night was cold. She awoke with a vision. She was washing sweet Jesus' feet. I dared to look you in the eye. I will repent. God spoke to her then. You will know bliss in the afterlife. She sat in the wilderness, fasted, and prayed for life. Can you tell I went to a church? I really fucked up somewhere along the way. I often think of the girls I went to school with and wonder what kind of sex they're having. I like to dress them up in my fantasies. I put them together in unusual combinations. Wearing medieval garb and wielding swords, doing high jumps naked, or sitting at recess and lunch in toga-like outfits, seductively combing each other's hair. We used to sing a hymn in assembly each morning and say the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven. It seemed like a silly little ritual at the time that I didn't think anyone paid that much attention to. Rejoice! Rejoice! Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Think pure thoughts, think pure thoughts. Don't let your mind stray in the gutter. So much was left unsaid. In my 6 adolescent years at that school, I managed to get my tongue down a girl's throat once. It tasted like condensed milk. But the tube was ripped mercilessly from my hands. But enough about Casablanca. Unrequited love comes in all shapes and sizes, all genders, all ages. I think it's a masochistic throwback to some entrenched Christian notion of hierarchy true. But true intimacy between two people, what's that about? Does it demand equality? Is there any such thing as equality? I went to a sex therapist once, maybe twice. She told me that I should start fucking a friend. So as I left, I was walking down Oxford Street, and I was thinking about the friends I had in my life and wondering who would be the one I'd fuck. I considered a few of you. Seriously. I came to the conclusion that I needed to make new friends. Which is nothing personal. I just think that being neurotic over a coffee in a cafe or getting up on stage and admitting you're a fucked up freak is a little different to crawling into a ball at the end of your bed and screaming, "I'm sorry, but I just can't touch it." I do know what a couple of you are thinking. Oh God, she's being unforgivably indulgent. And I totally agree. Art fulfills many functions, and in my humble opinion, there is some place amongst the myriad of expressions for the stage to become some sort of pseudo-neurotic confessional. The analyst's couch. I don't know if I can justify this statement beyond saying, well, perhaps there's someone out there I'll reach. The main obstacle being that after nearly 15 years of having my head firmly planted on my pubic collar, I'm not terribly sure what I was going past. I'm reminded at this juncture of Sting from the Police fame. Do, da, da, da. All I want to say to you. And I'm left with the uncomfortable conclusion that the only real reason I'm here is to draw attention to myself and somehow, misguidedly, try to elevate my position in the general status quo. To cut it short, there's no real reason to express ourselves in this sort of context unless we truly believe we have something outstandingly original to impart to humanity, or at least our friends. I've been to performances that have taken me somewhere new and I thought, wow, and I've been to performances that have taken me somewhere I recognise and I thought, hey, I'm not alone. I've actually had a couple of people come up to me after I've done something and say, I really knew what you were talking about. They never asked me out for coffee or home for a shag. Still, it's a compliment which I try to, once again, accept. But really, what am I doing here? On one level, I think it's about trying to make emotions tangible, trying to convey that constant struggle which we observe in others, so most acutely in ourselves. It's not that I think I'm the only one who experiences this sense of being trapped. I've observed it in a lot of my friends. Our wings are clipped, where the debris of a totally misguided and fucked up culture. A group of middle-class black sheep who in some ways have given up on trying to make sense of it all and accept that as you begin to age there's a need to mellow and carve some sort of niche for yourself and accept the weathering of the tide. I'm torn between this need to be calm and centred, to play it safe, to grow into this well-balanced adult, mature with integrity and a growing self-awareness. And this child, this little kid who just does not want any part of it, who wants to climb onto a mountaintop and scream, "Where are my galaxy full of stardust, trying to convert the world into some idealistic prehistoric era where gigantic birds walk the earth and we huddle around fires passing wisdom through the ages. Trying to dream myself beyond my computer screen to some fantastic world where the connection I feel with every human soul, every animal soul, every tree, every rock is so intense that I'm tripping out of my body and constantly on the verge of this overwhelming cosmic orgasm, the likes of which I know I will never experience in this lifetime. I want so much I can't have. I want an intensity I know I'm unable to deal with, to walk down King Street naked, no defences to protect me, where you allow every force in nature and the universe to pass through you. You're no longer disconnected, no longer an entity on your own, just a vibration of reality in its truest sense. You wouldn't survive an hour. I have no doubt that there are advanced souls in human form walking this earth this very moment, who have followed disciplines and achieved insights, even enlightenment, who have gained true humility and merged as closely as possible with God or nature, whatever form their discipline takes. I believe there are people who possibly have the answers if I had the insight to ask the appropriate questions. And I could easily loathe my lack of insight, loathe my lack of humility, loathe my lack of discipline for not reaching out to books and expanding my mind, for being as self-centered and naive to believe if I just looked hard enough inside myself I'd find the answers. Loathe my arrogance to present myself here in this context as a speaker, airing for the most part nothing but a part of my psyche, so warped with its own frustration it's almost disease-ridden. That was meant to be the serious part of it. Anyway, that's an example of someone taking themselves a little too seriously. I call this piece Colonic Irrigation, and it's a bit of a purging. It's probably not the sort of thing I should be doing in public. I keep thinking that if I crack all this shit out of my system, I'll end up like Jim Carrey. Another one of my misguided delusions. I have a lot of them. If to be totally honest, it's a bit of a farce, a throwback to the myth of the 40 genius. I've been paid to be a bum for the last 11 years. And it's a career choice I'm rather happy with. Life can be so nice. I do have this fear, though, if I don't do something soon, the government's going to force me to work for state rail. Cigarette butts off Stratfield Station. I was thinking of becoming a counsellor or a social worker or something. Something where you help people. Giving sort of occupation. But then I started having those fantasies again. Once we do the hands-on healing. Ideally in this life, we would all wear jester outfits and walk around tripping over and making each other laugh. I knew this boy once. I met him on a psych ward. And he used to play the fool to cover the fact that he didn't know how to express himself. He was an intelligent boy. These teeth here were really pointy. And he had this crooked grin, which used to melt my heart. We used to pull faces at each other and kiss sometimes. Everyone loved him. Even the crazy old woman who would sit in the corner, chain smoking, yelling out, "Cunt! Cunt!" He went out of his way to make sure that everyone was happy. He went out of his way to see that everyone was all right. I used to get jealous because I wanted him to pay more attention to me. We sort of had this agreement that one two of us better would become lovers. He had big dreams. He wanted to become a doctor. I thought, that would probably please my mother. But even though he was a certified wound, he was saving lives. Which can't be a bad thing. We had sex with our clothes on. He never got inside me. I wanted to get inside him first. But he kept pulling faces and cracking jokes. He wore his Jester outfit with pride. He never took it off. He's dead now, which is a great shame. He was with another woman at the time. She woke up with him dead beside her, a needle in his arm. He never got to tell anyone who he was. He used to play the fool because he wanted people to like him. He needed someone to love him. That was a sad story. I want to tell you all a happy story. Oh, look, there are so many happy things. If it was up to me, I'd crack jokes all the time. But I think I listened to Bambi a little too often as a child. The little prince fell down. Thumper. Did anyone have that? I was sitting at my computer screen and I thought, right, I'm going to write this 1 hour performance. Doesn't quite go for an hour. Don't worry. But anyway, I had all these ideas of the form I wanted it to take. You know, I'm going to take them through all these emotional experiences. They'll laugh, they'll cry, I'll send shivers up their spine. Their hearts will explode with love and we'll all end up naked and writhing around on the floor. It never happened, of course, and I blame that entirely on the fennel I ate the day before, which Yuri gave me. And the Taoist book I was reading, which was causing me to be obsessed with my colon and the unhealthy lack of sex in my life. I'm still trying to work out if these two things are connected. Anyhow, as I was sitting down writing, I was thinking, now, if I invited John Howard along to see this performance, do you think that he'd think that what I'm doing is worth keeping me on the pension for? Your art's not quite good enough. We're going to put you in the public service where you can really contribute something. Oh, please, please, let me clean toilets! The reality being that there are a lot of people out there cleaning toilets who are probably more qualified than myself to write about the horrors of life. And on that note, I think I should quote Cat Stevens. Take your time, think a lot, think of everything you've got, for you may still be here tomorrow, but your dreams may not. I don't have an image of a picket fence or vanilla-smelling babies. I never did. My dreams have swung from absolute idolatry fame to complete asceticism on a hilltop. But none of it's real. I could never really retreat from the world, and I never really want to become part of it either, beyond where I am, that is. But I am wondering for how much longer society is going to allow me to pretend to be a kid. I keep thinking that they're going to demand something from me soon. I was thinking that maybe I'd have to start selling my eggs. Or going around to universities and offering myself up for scientific experiments. Let's see what happens when a human being lives on cat food. why you think I'm doing this performance. So it requires a bit of audience, I don't know. It requires a bit of audience participation. Just put your hands up, no heckling or anything. Don't worry about hurting my feelings. But just, okay, why do you think I'm doing this performance? A, because I'm complete egomaniac who can think of nothing better to do than to talk about myself. B, because I'm desperately trying to justify my existence and have this fear if I don't prove myself as an artist, I'm going to undergo yet another identity crisis, which I really don't. C, because this whole process of writing and performing is really, really lots of fun. Or D, all of the above. Okay, I've been talking for a while now. I'm getting sick of it. What I'm going to do now, just to give you just a very quick breather, is play a bit of a Savage Garden song. It's a song I particularly like. I like the words, I wish I had wrote them. So yeah, we're just going to have a bit of a break. David Bowie in 1983. And David Bowie was saying something that John Lennon had said to him about songwriting, which was, see what you mean, make it rhyme, put a backbeat to it. Which is close as I get to a Liverpoolian accent. But pop music is really good that way. I think that's why I listen to Mix 106.5 so often. When I'm feeling blue, all I gotta do is take a look at you. Then I'm not so blue. I'm sadly a mass culture junkie. I draw the line at Ally McBeal, but I'm not beyond the occasional hit of Dawson's Creek. What I'd really like to see is an American soapie about a group of New Age Buddhist lawyers, each coming to terms with their overwhelming desire for gender reassignment. I think that would make interesting viewing. I actually think I'm a transgendered Buddhist lawyer in a parallel universe. Either that or a flamboyant, topless cocktail waitress with a disturbing inclination for self-mutilation whilst watching reruns of Entertainment. I should tell you when I write this stuff, I have no idea what it means. I just figure I'll put it out there in the universe and I hope that someone will come along, decipher it and tell me who I am. The thing was, when I was younger, I thought that if I drank my own urine and occasionally scraped razors across my flesh, life would gradually make more sense and nirvana would descend upon me, sweeping me up into a state of utter euphoria. I found these days, though, the best way to receive a rush is to lean back in my chair, tilt my head back as far as it'll go, and wait until I wake up passed out on the floor. I'm a little concerned I'm going to end up in a wheelchair. But the whole urine drinking thing really wasn't comparable to the state of utter disorientation you get from an overload of blood to the brain. If I had any sense, I'd move down to Melbourne and hook up with the boy I met on the internet who practices tantric sex. Become his love slave. Thank God for the brain. I like Seinfeld. I think it's a good show, and it works on the pretext that it's about nothing, which is what I'm working on. I've seen other solo shows, and I think this would work better if I had some other talents to share, if I could sing or dance or do an interesting script show. I decided against taking my clothes off. performance. I was going to have a costume change where I got into some sexy lingerie and aimed an orgasm whilst reciting Hamlet's famous soliloquy, "To be or not to be." Once again, illustrating my obsession with sexual ecstasy in the afterlife. But really what this evening is about is I'm a confused little girl looking for love and desperately trying to impress upon the world that I have unique qualities and they can be nurtured. If you take me home and cuddle me, I'll turn into a little polar bear. With the loyalty of a three-legged fox terrier. And the affection of a first-time mother who has a fixation with talcum powder and gives they grow. I continue to take my medication religiously, and if you tell me you think I'm pretty, I'll grow into a really nice young lady. Someone you'd be proud to take home to your mother. But alas, I fear I shall continue to tread this path. I shall continue to nuzzle my head into my mother's breast, confess my twisted thoughts to the sky. I shall continue to lead my chaste existence, waking up from disturbing dreams involving small children and fluffy animals. I shall continue to meet my friends individually in cafes where they allow me so unashamedly to palm my neuroses out on the table. I shall continue to believe that Woody Allen will say something new in his next film, and that trying to pull an art form out of total self-indulgence is respectable and worthwhile conduct. I shall continue to believe that we are not alone in this cosmic charade. Without the friendships we forge in this lifetime, we will suffer intolerably. That although the face of love may be subtle and indefinable, it nevertheless exists within our daily interactions. Without the people in our lives, I shall continue to recognize the debt I owe to each and every one of you. When I was growing up as a kid, we had a cat called Queenie and a dog called King. My family are into the monarchy. Anyway, I remember being told once that if you made up a porn name, your first name should be the name of your first pet, and your last name should be the name of the street when you were a kid. So my name was Queen Pine. Queenie Pine, the porn star. A friend of mine wanted me to be in a cheap dyke form that had been made. Thought my breasts looked wonderful smeared with extra blood, which I kind of think would be interesting with a Shirley Temple soundtrack. But it did contradict the notion of myself I was cultivating. I had a view that if I did decide to enter politics and form that political party with Peter Garrett and Natasha Stockers-Foyer, my past would haunt me and Queenie Pine would be a lurking shadow, ready to ambush my accelerated rise into fame and fortune. I read a little bit, but I'm not a prolific reader at all. Right. So when I read from cover to cover, and I read really carefully. Like, I understand what somebody's saying. And then I put it down, and it's like, what did I just read? My recall is really bad. I just hope it sort of seeps into me and becomes part of me some way. But I tend to think working with really simple philosophies is the best way to go for me, anyway. Like, I sort of think, okay, I should be detaching from my emotions, but I can't work out what the difference between detaching and suppressing is. And then I think, no, I should experience my emotions fully, or at least observe them, which could be the same as I should be scared of them. Unfortunately, though, you know, a lot of my life runs on fear, a lot of stuff. And I'm actually terrified of taking risks, and art's really the only context that I do it in. I'm not sure if it's about expressing emotions or repressing them, but it's basically saying there are some things in my life and I don't know how to describe them. I'd like to tell you about them, but I can't find the words. It's not even that interesting or profound. It's just that I keep having conversations with a voice in my head, and it disturbs me that the only times I know who I am are these fleeting moments when I'm alone, reciting monologues about the meaning of life and telling myself it's the best it's ever been and it's only going to get better. It does get better as you get older. You recognise where the dangers lie. You try to keep yourself out of harm's way. You've built so many walls around yourself that you protected. You can still recognise truth and beauty, and you have a ready supply of antidepressants by the bedside in case the nights get cold. Life's good, I know that. But I still feel like a prisoner, and this lifetime's my cell. I'm going out of my way to give it meaning, like drawing between the lines. We've all got a different picture, and it links up to form a patchwork quilt. Which keeps eternity warm. It's like warring parties in my psyche, telling me life's good, telling me I'm living a lie. And all I can do is try to sit calmly in the centre and not engage in anything which is going to emotionally confuse me. Like a porcelain doll wrapped in cotton. It scares me that I'm missing out. And I'm just so scared to go there. I'm trying to tell you who I am, and I don't know I have this need. I'm trying to tell myself I have something to offer in the scheme of things, and I'm trying to be honest, but my honesty makes me cringe because the truth of my words yells so loudly that I can't see beyond myself. It's such a flaw. I want to say things that other people are feeling. Nothing new or special. Just a state which is alienation, doing its best to conform It's not a tortured state. It's somewhat sad. Lonely tonight. Tomorrow there'll be sun. Little darling, it seems like ice is slowly melting. Joining the chorus. Little darling, it seems like since we first met. Come on!
Here comes the sun, little birdie. Here comes the sun, and I say it's alright.
Yeah. Before I rush out and have a cigarette, I'd like to say a couple of thank yous. Especially to James Manser. He got his masters today. Yeah, he's been incredibly busy doing that and has still managed to have time and talk me out of getting his voice to sing a Whitney Houston song.
You guys were very, very, very lucky.
Rose on the door and Kerry at Satellite Colonius who is here. And also